Okay, so now, I'll do that later. Now it's time to look at, what's that? You might want to look at a couple, you can start your homework, but phase 2. Sorry, whoever needed this video that asked for it. We started halfway through, but you had serial bowl table technology last year, so you should remember this. Okay, so now we're going to deal with parabolas that are not centered at the origin. By the way, for ellipses, x minus what letter? H squared, blah, 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 plus y minus what letter? K. It's amazing that they use the same letters for a parabola, not vertexed at the origin. Okay, so go ahead and take a minute to write this down. Why do I have this blackened out? Because it's what? It's a bunch of what? No, it's a bunch of what? Letters and formula junk, and it's no serial what? Serial bowl table will take care of everything, make everything very easy. So again, like I said, this is supposed to be memorized, and it was the exact same form we used last year. So it's all good. So even though you cracked open those Chromebooks and you're looking to do homework, you might not need the first couple, but so completing the square is actually not bad. I love you. Every time. Oh, that wasn't to you guys. That was to that sign. But I like you guys kind of too. So. So H comma K, and then we'll go through examples just right out. I will say a couple things. Actually, I don't really need to, because we already talked about finding the focus, directrix, axis of symmetry. You can find focal length, just be focal width helps me draw it, and I will show you that. Okay? So a minute to write that down. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Look, if you want to, just to get yourself in gear. So y squared equals 4. 4 is what? What kind of number? Positive. So, man, it's raining bad. What's the vertex? What's the vertex? 3 comma 2 is not right. Negative 3, okay. Maybe I heard that wrong. It's not 2 comma negative 3. Don't just be a robot and go in order. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, what's P? What's P? 4P equals 4. P equals 1. So if we were to sketch this, we'd go to negative 3 comma 2. And then we'd know it's going up. So we'd P up and P down for... I'm wrong! I got too many things in my head right now. I'm not right. I'm half the man I used to be. Okay, it's actually 3 left, 2 up, and it goes right. So I actually have to P right and then left. So what are the what's the focus in the directrix? Vertex negative 3 comma 2, got it? So what's the focus? The answer is negative 2 comma 2. What's the directrix? X equals negative 4. If you really wanted to get a better drawing, I kind of just think of it or write it. Now what I want is the focal width, which is what? What's the focal width? 4. And all that means is I can go through the focus and go 2 down and 2 up to get a little bit more shape. If I had a coordinate plane, it'd look a lot better, of course, and you get the idea. You're smart. Okay, but that's why you'd get the focal width so you can actually get some more picture to it. I don't know if I have to do too many more of those. I think I'm going to skip that one. By the way, which way would this go, though? Just we'll talk about it. Which way would this one go? Down. What's the vertex? Negative 4, negative 1. What's P? Just call it as a positive. 3. So for the focus, I go 3 down, right? And the directrix, I go 3 up, and it'd be a horizontal line. You get the gist. Let's get some more complicated stuff. I think the most complicated one, I'll do 2 of these just to get you in the right mode of this. So pause if you want to write these down if you're still taking the notes. If you didn't do serial bowl table last year. So jerk mathematics, boy, apparently is what I am. I'd go negative 2, negative 4. And that's the focus, which I like to just identify as like that little X, just, like the foci yesterday. Then the vertex is -4, -4. Which way does this go? Right. Serial bolt table. What's P? It's already right in front of you. What's P? P is the distance the directrix, I'm sorry, in this case, the focus is from the vertex anyway. It's over. X squared or Y squared? So it's Y plus or minus plus what? 4. The Y coordinate of the vertex squared equals what number in front of the next set of parentheses? 4 times 2 is 8, and it's what kind of 8? I heard a couple. It's positive because it's right, and then what? Y what? X plus what? 4. Now let's focus in on this one. Let's focus in on this one. Oh, he's so funny. Oh my gosh. Oh no! We're gonna have what kind of number? Does anyone realize? We are gonna have a fraction. 1, 2, 3, comma 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the focus. Oh, and then the directrix is. Which way does this go? Up. Serial bolt table. What don't I have though? Where's the vertex belong between these two? Oh no! What's the number? 3, 2.5 from the back. He is correct. So what's the equation? X what? Minus 3. I lost them while they were doing their homework. Squared equals. What's P? Sound like Yoda again. What's P? 1.5 from the back again. Same guy that got the vertex. So what's the number in front of the parentheses? 6. They beat you that time. Y minus 2.5. Get it? Okay. Well, we got a couple more things to do. I do have a word problem one, but I also have to complete the square, which you're going to love completing the square. And I'm not going to do any trig ones today. You know, those polar equations? Although you could do it. It's equally as challenging. Actually, it's half as challenging as that ellipse that we did yesterday. Simple. Because actually, completing the square in a parabola is a lot easier because how many square terms are there? 1. So you only have to complete the square on one thing. So y squared plus 2y plus blank equals, I know I'm going fast, negative 6x. Someone get their notes from last year. Anyone save those for memories for your scrapbook? I wonder if they're exactly the same. What did I do? I don't know what's happening. I was in the middle of something. And it's minus 13, isn't it? I was in the middle of a story, though. Does anyone have their notes from last year? I'm just curious if I use the exact same ones. Yeah, probably. You know. Okay, what's the number? 1. 1. And then it's y plus 1 squared equals negative 3, 13 plus negative 12, and I got to pull out a 6. So it's x. Was that thunder? Okay, also why completing a square for a parabola is easier is because remember for ellipses you have to pull a number out and then there's only one squared term. So what do you think I could do about this negative 2y squared? Just divide it. You are correct. Y squared minus 8y plus blank equals negative over negative is a positive 1/2 x, but then I have to subtract it. And then 1 over negative 2 is negative 1/2, but I have to add it. And then I got to put a blankety blank here. What is in those blanks now? So this is why completing the square for a parabola is way easier. And then still fake it. This is 32 halves plus a 33 halves. 33 halves. And then what do I have to do? I have to pull out a what? 1/2. So what does that mean for what's left over in here? minus what? So what's the vertex? 33, comma 4. What's P? I don't care if you say plus or minus. You just got to know where to move for it. So I don't care about that. It's what? It's 1/8. If you want to say it's negative, great. But where do I move? You know, which way is this going? So where do I go for the focus? This is the vertex, so where do I go for the focus? You go left. Who does that affect, X or Y? So take away 1/8 from 33 and you get 32 and 7/8, comma 4. And then what's the directrix? You will be marked wrong so quick your head will be spinning. X equals 33 and 1/8. So even without graphing, you can visualize the moves. Keep watching. Keep faking. I see you. Okay. Oh, this one's easy, but it's different. I thought we were on the word problem, but you still should keep watching. Because some people assume that this was like a focal width point. This could have been anywhere. I could pick any point on this. So what do you know? What does it look like? One of the points that's given. The vertex. By the way, what is this? A y squared or an x squared? Y minus k squared equals 4p x minus h. So what do I know? The what? What's k? What's h? I thought someone said it. 0. Uh-oh, now what? What else do you know? Another point on the... What did you call that? Parabola. I thought you said line. Ooh. Okay. Okay. So, where do I put -6 at? The x value. That's why this one's a little different. Keep watching. And where do I put for -4 minus? And then I don't even think I solved this because I got like, oh, you get the point, right? You find P, then you plug it back in, and then then you plug in K and H back in, and you find P. But you leave these because you know what these represent? All of these. So you can't put numbers in for those because you need those Y's and X's to create all those other points. All right, keep watching. I see you back there. Hey! Maybe hit my calendar. Hey, a paraboloid. Not made up. 3-dimensional parabola. Like imagine a 2-dimensional parabola and rotating it. It's not a big deal. Just listen. You see all this? Great. This is what it says. Actually, I learned this from this book. Or I knew this from teaching pre-calculus. I don't know if it was necessarily from this book, but this parabola. Okay, I have this at home. I have a Dish Network dish right on my deck. That's what's on the back of a house. So there is this little, it doesn't look quite like this, but it does have a little receptor, to collect the signal. And of course, coming from space, some of the signal does hit the receptor right on the dot. What's the point of the dish then? The point of the dish is it's a parabola, and the receptor is right at the focus of that paraboloid, I guess we'll call it. And the dish actually takes the signals that hit the dish, and because this is right at the focus, directs this signal right to the receptor. So what do you think that does for your TV? Gives you a better picture. So, what happens with a flashlight? Same thing going in the opposite direction. You know when you when you light a flashlight and you point it at a wall, isn't there like that circle, right? All right, but then some of the lights there's a little bit more outside of the circle. That's the light that kind of misses the edge and goes out there. But the light that hits the reflector that's a paraboloid actually gets directed forward, and that's that intense point of light that you see that the flashlight makes. Because the filament is at the focus as well. The optimal position to actually reflect the light directed in a straightforward direction. All right, so if you're going to become an engineer, I'm not going to do that. Why do I have to learn this? And you make this flashlight that looks like it's from 1970. And you're the engineer, you got to put the light filament in the correct spot. and you know the dimensions of the paraboloid, then you got to know where that filament belongs. Well, that's interesting. Okay, now, this is what you do. You trick yourself. You coordinate plane the question. And I gave you 3 word problems. One of them is the bridge problem at the end. Oh, I love it. It's great. So you coordinate plane. You trick yourself. So I snap off the head. I did this. I cut that picture myself. All right, and then you stick this in a coordinate plane. So what did I make this parabola go? Which direction? Well, I made it go what, though? Right. So I'm just going to mirror that equation as one that's going right, and I made it centered. That's wrong. I made that centered, that's vertexed at 0, 0. So I kept this simple equation. Now, with the dimensions being a diameter of 6 and a depth of 2, all right, what's this coordinate right here? So I coordinatized the question. So I can get these distances a little better figured out for an equation. What's that coordinate? 2 comma what? 2 comma what? 3. I heard a couple 6s. Because this is what? 2 comma what? It says in the question the diameter is 6. So that's why we know the whole thing is 6. Okay, so guess what? What's 3 squared? 9. What's negative 3 squared? It doesn't matter which one I plug into this formula to find p. 3 squared, plus or minus 3 squared. I'll even do that. Whoa. 4p x. 2 times 4 is what? 9/8. What does that 9/8 mean? 9/8 is the position of the focus. So therefore, that is the position of the light filament to maximize the potential of the paraboloid-shaped flashlight. I couldn't think of the word.